Okay, so our next options right here, there's a main camera. We can by click selecting, you notice right here in object browsers, we have it object properties, we have it our main camera properties. They're different from normal object, as well as will be different if we're selecting lights or other ones. So for the main camera, we have what camera we use. Currently we have two cameras. Anytime when we want it, we can click and edit and create a new camera. You can always create a camera by copy paste. This is the same as the other objects. Okay. Also we have it, what is a camera is backdrop for the camera. Target with target camera. Currently if you look right, here is our target pointing. And we also have it option for the manage cameras, where we can access from other one, where we can create new cameras or delete existence. Some other properties. We have it focal, which is represent focal length. 35, it's about wide angle, and normally our eyes see about 50-55 millimeters if you want to, but in many landscape the wide angle is more useful. Next we have it blur, and blur is representing the from the point right here different blurring and percent. So for example, let's increasing, and you notice right here we have it this range. It's meaning, it doesn't mean this is here will be sharp. This is a mean line, so it's meaning it will be start blurring, and right here where is a point where its blur start decreasing, and right here its blur is increasing more. To change this point, you can always click to select the point and readjusting. For example, currently I said, okay, my camera point about this range with my this house, tree house, so it can point to this place, and object right this area will be blurry. So when we start rendering and at least in a broadcast and final quality, in the meaning these areas will be represented as a blurring areas. Okay, so our point right here, you notice when I click and I select this, it's also help us to adjust our camera where we want to place it. To adjust the camera position, you can just click on point and move it, rotate this way, or you also have it right here on the bottom, tools for the, and this mostly what I do, I select the camera, I go to the rotate camera, and this way I can readjust and rotate my camera point in the way I want it. When I can animate, I will have an animation timeline. I can set keyframe for the camera and animate motions for my camera as well. But again, many times I will select the target for my camera, so I know what my camera is currently targeting. So I can set the, okay, right here is a blur, and in many cases you want to maybe not use it your blur, you can use it Z depth, and my personal experience, I do recommend don't use it blur, save the as a Z channel the depth, and maybe utilize for single image in Photoshop or After Effects for the motion after to add additional blur. It just will be a little bit faster when you start doing this way. Next we have it focus. Okay, let me set this to 0 again. We have it focus, and it's currently 27 meters. It's this point when I select it, it's like it on 27 meters. So this is what displaying to us. You can also modify by using these arrows up and down. By clicking on an arrow, you can increase or decrease. And if you just hold down, it will also start kind of going down. Okay, so right here 37. Exposure, it is offset, same like on a camera. If you're familiar with photography or videography, you can increase, decrease your exposure. By default, it's kind of set to automatic, auto, but sometimes maybe you want to bring a little bit more light areas, and then this way it will affect. Again, this is affecting just the camera. It doesn't affect your scenery. So if I go in atmosphere and I pop up my brightness there, it will affect globally all cameras. These settings is affect just only this one camera. And next, currently we have height. The height, it says of the camera 1.8. Very important things to notice. This is lock right here. Currently it's a lock to this height. So it's meaning it's camera measuring anything under this, currently to the ground. So if I go and I create a cube, and watch, I go and put my cube, so actually just move it, to my camera. Okay, my camera is inside. Now if I go right here and lock, okay, let me go to my cube. See the camera go down, and now it's going jump. So it's kind of locking. In many cases, what's happening when people create a camera and they, okay, let me put it up, like right here when you set by default, okay, and your camera is locked, and you have some object you're creating and you're going, and certainly your camera disappear. Why? Because it jump out. The reason is why? Because your camera is locked to this height, so it's going to specify. To avoid this camera jumping, all what you need to do to select your camera and disable this lock. Okay, so we'll look on this one. Let's go next. So right here in our camera view, okay, let me kind of zoom out. You already noticed what I'm using the rotate camera. One interesting thing is that if you don't select camera, if you click on the ground, watch what's happened now. You notice my camera is rotating against this pivot point right here of the ground. So if I select the cube and I use rotation, my camera is rotating against the pivot point of the cube. If, for example, I have a tree house and I want to take my camera and rotate it, notice my camera rotating against the house. This way you can select a very easy and fast rotation of the camera around something. For example, you don't need to create, as previously trick, maybe a round object and assign camera to this. Right now, all what you need to do is select object you wanted and apply motions, and you can see right here we have different motions we can apply to our camera related to specific object. Again, if I want to rotate against the pivot point of the camera, I'm just selecting camera and rotating. Okay, next we have also rotate camera. We can do rotate this way. This is additional that allowed us just to rotate camera without necessarily moving. Same things, let's select house. And you notice right now on the rotation, our camera is rotating not around, it's just rotating pivot points. So if you always select different object and you want just change a point of the camera right here, if you just want to locate it or rotate camera itself against the object, you can select rotate camera. Okay, additional options, and you will use them sometimes more. Well, it depends on you. Most time I'm just selecting camera, maybe I'm using moving this way, but in many cases you don't need to actually select in your viewport. For example, if you select camera, you can always just use a pan tool from your camera, so going kind of pan up and down. You can also move camera out and towards the object. And again, this will move on an axis as your point is going. So right here, for example, my focus point, imagine this is a straight line. So wherever I'm using the move, it will go against that. If I'm using pan, it will go against, again, relatively to, again, right here. See, it's not straight up. It's not like using this X. It's going against the axis straight against my focal point. Okay, and next we also have a camera focus point, so we can wide camera or telephoto, kind of zoom in. Okay, and we can always store our camera preferences and settings. So you can predefine different cameras, store them, and save it and load it maybe in other scenery. Also with the camera view, right here you can cycle through the cameras. For example, this is top camera, main camera. We can select another ones and you can cycle through them faster way. One thing you may notice, right small triangle. What it does, it just minimize browsers or main camera. So it's just to clear some space if you have too many objects or other things working with this. Again, we'll work a little bit more with cameras, and mostly when we start working with animations or presets. So we'll come back to all of these motions with cameras, and we'll check how all this tracking, leaking, and loose respawn will working.